It's really a crazy thing to have a person in this life with you, a friend, a loved one, a family member, I don't care who it is, and then just wake up one day and they're not there anymore. It's different. And even though I've been through this way more times than I can count, it's a pain that is just so heavy when it first happens, and all you can do is get up every day and try to push through it and cry when you need to cry and breathe when you need to breathe. And I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted and I miss my friend. But yeah. You ready to start the show?
Let's go.
Hey everyone, and welcome to or welcome back to One Man and One Woman, the podcast. I am one half of your co-hosts, Tara Michelle,
And I'm J. Flan.
and he is J. Flynn. Sexy whisper voice for you guys. Okay, so this is a lovey-dovey type of conversation based on relationships and based on a bunch of reels I saw on the internet. So the first thing I want to talk about is being in the gap. So in this reel, the man was talking about his woman coming to him, his wife, excuse me, coming to him and saying, "Hey, you're not intimate enough." And he didn't understand what that meant. She explained it to him, and he said, "I had no idea you felt this way. And if it weren't for something I just recently did, when would you have told me?" And she said, "I don't know." So this is a multifaceted, like layered question for me because it's all about communication, as he was stating. Communication is key. When you don't communicate, you create a gap, and bad things happen in the gap. Miscommunication, arguments, anger, dudes and women are able to slide into the DMs or start, feeding you information like you look good, you smell good, and all that stuff, and you start to resent your person, all because you have an issue with your person. You haven't told them and given them the opportunity to fix it. And the most important thing when you're in a relationship with someone is to always make sure you keep that gap closed so you don't let any of that like infectious stuff in. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's I get it, and it's clearly I think it's human nature to have difficulty understanding that your perception is unique to you. So I think what happens for a lot of us is we feel like we're communicating things that we're not because we expect sometimes we feel like things are being communicated to us that aren't being communicated, and we feel like we're being communicated because we're interpreting things. I would if I felt this way, I would do this. So when they did this, this is what they were saying, and when I did this, they should have understood that it meant this because who doesn't? And I've had conversations with my significant other, and both of us will be in a well, who does that, or who how would you not, or because it's very difficult to understand that someone else does not have the same frame of reference or same perspective as you do. So I think with that understanding of the gap and everything, in mind, you have to consciously like do that and even like nitpick yourself on things that did I say it? Did I explicitly say I don't like this? Did I explicitly say this bothered me? Did I explicitly say I need this? Or did I just do something that I expect to be interpreted a certain way?
You know, there's just so much more to relationships that I feel like this stuff should be taught in school. I believe that when you get to high school, maybe your junior year, the health science classes need to be about communication and listening to understand instead of to respond, and all these helpful jewels that sometimes take us far too long in life to grasp, understand, or even hear about, to put them into practice. But when I think about this and I think about the answer that you just gave, I feel like when people say, communication is key. You need to say what's going on, what you think, how you feel. What happens when you're the person who there's always something wrong with you? Every single thing that you hear, you interpret the wrong way. Now you always want to communicate about something. Now you're always griping, moaning, and complaining about something. And I think that creates a different kind of gap. Because now the person that you're with is like, well, what the hell do you like about me? If every single thing I do, you got something to say about. And I hate to tell people to end relationships because of their differences. So how do you fix that? How do you is it up to the person who is feeling this way and has everything to nitpick about to sit down, shut the fuck up, and really think about if these things are as important as they are, or if they are just griping to gripe? Or is it up to the person who is constantly being bombarded with the other person's problems and moaning and groaning and complaining to figure out how to be this perfect person and walk on eggshells to please this person who is really incapable of being pleased? Like what do you do with that? Because sometimes people do really love each other. And sometimes people really do want to be together. I just think that somebody needs to snap out of something and shut up.
No, I mean, I think it's a relationship. So there's mutual responsibility there, and there's mutual responsibility to the individuals. Each individual needs to take care of themselves a little bit in this situation. If you're in a relationship with someone and you constantly have something to complain about, they're constantly doing something that bothers you, upsets you, makes you feel a certain kind of way, makes you feel like you need to express it, you need to tell them, um, then you may need to, for yourself, start evaluating what it is, why it is that you are with this person. And then maybe you balance those things out. Is this worth this? Is that worth that? And then you can start, canceling some of the things out, and then maybe you can chill. I also think, um, and also, that person, maybe you discover that you're not with the person because you love them. You're with the person because you're afraid to be by yourself. And, say they annoy you and you would rather be by yourself, or you would rather not be with them, but you don't want to be by yourself. So you just have shit to complain about all the time. But you need to figure that out. And I think if you're the other person, you know, you also need to feel like, yeah, how far, there are things that you're going to need to do to accommodate, bringing somebody into your life, and being entering into a relationship or a commitment with a person. But what are those limits? What are your boundaries? What are your, where are your lines? What is you, and what are you not going to, what are you not going to bend on? And I think you need to kind of have those things, or you just will wilt into whatever, um, this person is trying to shape you into. But that's also a decision that you need to make. How much longer this person says they love me, but the way they complain about me makes me feel otherwise. How much longer am I going to accept this love that doesn't feel like love? Like, it has to work for both sides. Just because somebody loves you and you don't, doesn't mean you have to stay if you don't feel love. That's not the love for you. So, I think it's a mutual responsibility. Both sides need to look at the situation and, hey, do I need to do this much changing? Or is this just not the space for me? Or, hey, do I need to do this
Absolutely.
much complaining? Or, should I just chill out and accept the good with the bad?
I think sometimes people need to realize too, like, how can a person that you say you love and you fell in love with get on your nerves that damn much? Like, you might be the issue. You might be going through something and you just want to nitpick this person because you're depressed or anxious or upset or worried or concerned or bored for that matter. Because I don't understand, if you really love a person, how they could become this major annoyance to you all of a sudden. I think sometimes people just be goofy, to be honest. I mean, that isn't really a concrete answer, but that's gonna be my answer for today. Some people are just goofy. Um, the next thing I want to talk about is the ability to love. So David Banner was on this clip on a reel, and he was talking about people's ability to love is like equal to the kind of pain that they've been through. So if you've been through a lot of pain, you actually have a lot of capability, a lot of ability to love, but your ego can get in the way or fears can get in the way because you don't want to be hurt again. But sometimes when you get with a person who has been through a lot of traumas, who has dealt with a lot of stuff, that'll be a person who will love you with everything that they have. They will love you deep. They will love you strong. They will be loyal because if they are able to let you in, they will love you fiercely because they've been through so much harm and hurt and pain. And they know what it's like to wallow in that. And the other side of that is love, and they want it more than anything and will cling to it more than anything and do right by it more than anything. Now, some people are just toxic and want you to stay that way. But in speaking to the terms of the ability to love, equating to how much pain and suffering you've been through, I think I can rock with that. You know, as a Sagittarius, as a female, as someone who's been through a lot of trauma, I do love deep and hard and real. And I have stayed in situations before that I should have long left because I loved the person so much and wanted to make it work. And you really do have to learn as you get older what's good for you and what's not. But I think I can rock with the fact that if you've been through a lot of shit and you stuff, excuse me, if you've been through a lot of stuff and you know what it's like to be hurt, and you find this place where you don't hurt, and you can open up and give everything you have, underneath all of that pain is a love like no other because that's all we've been waiting for our whole lives. What's your take on that?
Um, I don't necessarily rock with it. I think people, there are people out here, with the capacity to love and ready to love and wanting to love, and there are people that don't. I think pain can turn you into one of those kind of people. I think that can be a response to pain, um, that yearning for love, that want to love, and that now this additional capacity for love. I think some people, like you mentioned, go the other way. And I think there are people who may not have gone through all kinds of traumas and pain that still have overwhelming capacity for love. Maybe because that's what they've only ever known, or maybe just because of that's who they are inherently. But like, I don't know. I just, I always get squeamish about, ideas like this where, like, you have to have met this criteria to be able to do this, because people like try to use that to predict, what somebody can and cannot do. Oh, you ain't been through nothing, so you can't love me enough. So it's like, I
I
think,
don't think that's what he meant, and when he said this, and I don't think that's definitely not how I interpret it. It's a generalization, so it's definitely not to cover all and everybody. And you have some people who come from loving. In my experience, people who've been through something are way more passionate, and people who've had a silver spoon or everything's come easy for them are really self-absorbed and don't reach into the depths of their soul to find that kind of love for other people. But I
like,
haven't met everybody in the world. So that's just my personal experience. And that's just like him speaking his personal experience. But I just think you live to disagree with me at this point.
no, I always think those generalizations are dangerous because I've been the victim of them a lot. I think a lot of people look at me and maybe think that I grew up with a silver spoon, even if some people think it because they have a misconception of how I grew up. Some people are comparing the way I grew up with the way they grew up, and in comparison to them, it looks like I grew up with a silver spoon. So then they have these expectations on me that I'm self-absorbed and I have all these other things. And so yeah, these generalizations across the board, I'm always have a issue with.
Okay. The next clip was about this man said that his wife, I think her name was Uzama or something like that, but he said his wife puts her arms around him and she becomes the cape and he becomes Superman. And the man that was interviewing this gentleman like started to cry. Like that hit him so hard. When you hear something like that, if you were interviewing a man for whatever reason, an athlete or somebody on your podcast, and he came to you to talk about his wife and he said those words, like she puts her arms around me, she becomes the cape and I become Superman. Like, what do you think about that saying? Do you think that's the outlook that most men have and would love to have in a woman, or how do you interpret that?
Yeah, no, absolutely what most men um, would want to have in a woman. I think a lot of us may not even know it, you know, originally, or coming into our early adulthood, we may not understand that that's what we want. But that idea, that idea of that support, that thing that's going to keep you going, and like believes in you so much that it's a part of you, that it is you, it's an extension of you, and it's your cape. Like it's not just um like that to me, like, goes beyond a partner. A partner is like you standing next to me, and we moving, we're both individuals doing stuff that benefit each other. Like that cape metaphor seems more like, like we are so locked in that it's one thing at this point. And you don't view supporting me as a loss of your individuality. You view it as membership in something greater. And yeah, I think that's what all men are looking for, even if we don't know it.
I love that. I think it's one of the most beautiful things I've heard a man say about their wife. And to see his reaction and hear him say it was something different, I don't know that I've ever seen people move like that in life. Maybe Tiffany and Keelan. But I'm not with them often. But it seems to me by what I see on social media with them and the 6,000 kids they have together, and they just seem so happy and productive in their relationship, that that may be how they see each other and how they work together. Um, I think there's a lot of damage in relationships, specifically in the Black community, where men have let women down tremendously. Women have let men down extra, super, ultra tremendously. Um, some people gonna get sad or upset about that, but I mean it's true. And so there's a lot of love lost, a lot of trust lost. People wanting to only give what they think they're getting. Everybody's trying to see who's gonna move first. Well, if you want this, you got to do it first, and then I'll do it. Um, just a bunch of foolishness. So, and this man, I don't know that he was black. He may have been something totally different. He was definitely a melanated person, but that doesn't mean he was black. He could have been, Latino or something like that. But it it makes me feel good as a woman to know that there are people out here who behave that way, who think that way, who feel that way, who work together that way. Because that's a thing of hope. Like, I have two daughters, I have two sons. I would like them to be in relationships that work that way, where he feels that way about her and she feels that way about him, because it's beautiful. I wish this was the thing that was more widespread and known, and the mess that we see every day was, you know, the least of them. But I thought it was beautiful, and it made me feel like he, you know, felt like he gets his power and his strength from the love of that woman, and I just can't think of anything more beautiful.
Yeah. So I think we have to highlight these things, and we have to also start teaching, spreading the message that this is what you're looking for. You know, um, I think right now we almost look at these things as if like they are uh, hidden treasures or something. Like we discovered you know, um, some rare artifact that only happens once in a generation or something like that. Like it can, if we are intentional about it, if we're intentional about going out and seeking your helpmate, your partner, your cape, if you're intentional about going out and finding, your king or your partner, whatever you want to call it, then I think we will have better results. But what we're selling that we're going out to find, we're getting, and we're just not happy with it.
That is true. I think the reason that it works that way is because we don't see it often enough. It does, it literally, like you said, it feels like a hidden treasure. When I see stuff like this, when I see the Michelle Obamas and the Barack Obamas and see how nurturing and affectionate he was, I'm used to how the other presidents handle it, where you don't really know if these people like each other at all, because there's absolutely no care or concern, no waiting to hold her hand up the steps or down the steps. Barack Obama was a fine example of how a husband should be with his wife, to the public. I don't know these people in real life, but I'm just saying. So when we see stuff like that, like I said, I've been in relationships before where To have my guy at the time say to me, you know, "You look beautiful today. You look so pretty," was like, ugh. Or to tell me he loved me first, ugh. You're so starved for these things. Sometimes you don't even notice it until it happens, and you go, "That's a dang on shame that something that simple that I should get all the time makes me so happy because I rarely ever get it." And I think we just have a loss of men knowing how to treat their women, and women not necessarily knowing how to explain that to them, and even when they try, men not being receptive, they still do whatever they want to do. Because it's hard when you're with someone and you say, "This is what I need," and they don't do it, and you said it 15 times, and so now you're like, "This person doesn't care about me because they're still not giving me what I need," or "I'm not important enough to them because they're not giving me what I need." And that's more of the reality for the people I know, the people I'm seeing, these crazy people on these reality shows, and the people who are on these podcasts are all saying the same thing. The person that they are with is not willing to fulfill their needs. They're, "Well, what about me? What about me?" Okay, we can get to you because I brought the conversation up. So let's get to me because I started the conversation, and then we can get to you. But this tit for tat, I cannot stand petty tit for tat childish behavior. It irks me more than anything, and it would make me withdraw my emotions from you because I'm so annoyed. But that's what I see most of all, period, everywhere. People thinking, "Oh, I'm just giving so much." Well, maybe you should be single. If you honestly feel that the growth and the work that needs to be done for both of you to combine and become the greatest that you could together is too much, it's just too much for you, then you should probably be single and stay that way. Because nothing's easy when you're combining two personalities, two human beings, two hearts, two souls. But it should not be some devastating, just, crazy, crazy thing that ruins your whole life. But I thought it was beautiful. And I do feel like that's few and far between. I don't see or hear stuff like that often at all.
I think, I think women have got to start recognizing that. Like, you said once you've gotten to the 15th time, now you're realizing he doesn't care about you. This idea that men are just stupid, you know, I I get it, and in some ways we are, and a lot of times, no, it's not. We're not stupid. We heard you. We caught all of the clues. We know everything that you're trying to tell us. We've either decided that we're not going to do it. Maybe we've expressed to you that we're not going to do it, or we expressed to you how we feel about doing it. Whatever it is, um, it's not a he's stupid or he doesn't get it or he's just missing it or he doesn't know how to treat women. It may just be like that's not where he is with you. And so I think and we have to start accepting that and not like blaming it on men being stupid. That's not always the
Did I
case.
say men were stupid?
Or
What
did they
is what
know
did
they don't know how to treat women? They're not catching on. Sometimes it's not that he's not catching on.
if that's okay, because I was like, did I call somebody stupid? If they are with a woman and they have decided that they don't want to give her what she needs, but they stay with her, then they don't know how to treat a woman. Because you don't, and this is for women too. We're gonna, because I know some people out there be like, "Oh, it's so one-sided." For anyone who stays in a relationship with someone and they are not willing to fulfill their needs, to keep playing with that person's emotions, and you're watching them being willing to take the hurt and pain that you're giving them, and you being willing to continue to give them the hurt and pain, you don't know how to treat women, and you're actively choosing to not do right by a woman. That's how I perceive that. We can't blame it on her and say, "Well, she stayed, so that's why I kept doing it." No, get rid of her.
No, I'm not.
If
This
that's
it's
not
not.
where
It's
you
not a
are with
blame
her
game.
and that's not what you want to do with her, get rid of her or
It's not a
him.
blame. It's not a blame game. I'm not trying to blame one side or the other. But there's always equal responsibility. It's not just his responsibility to get rid of you, and it's not just your responsibility to leave, or it's not his. It's a mutual responsibility. Can't say because he didn't leave, that's why you stayed. Like it's a mutual responsibility. You can't say because she didn't leave, that's why you didn't go. Like
I think we go back to the gap. Then somebody needs to be man enough or woman enough to say, I hear you, and I hear you keep bringing this up, but I'm gonna let you know right now, I'm never going to give you that." Be bold enough to say that, and then let that person either say, "Okay, then I'll just let it go," or, "Okay, well, I can't deal with that," and then call it quits. But it can't be mutual if one person has made a decision to not or to do something and the other person isn't aware of it. Because I would think if a person was with someone and they keep bringing it up, they're thinking that person isn't listening, doesn't understand, or whatever. So that's why they haven't left yet. But if you get it and you understand, say I get it and I understand and I'm not going to do it. Now what? And let her walk away or let him walk away or let them decide that that thing really wasn't as important as they thought it was. But either way, got to get out of that gap. Like we talked about in that earlier question, you just can't, because then she's feeling insecure. And we all know how the world works. When your girl is hurting or insecure, when your dude is fed up or irritated, they go to the grocery store and it's 15 hoes and 15 dudes trying to holler. These cretins can just sniff out trouble in the home and they want to slide right on in and figure it out. And that's how a woman realizes just how much attention she's been getting from her man. Because the thirst trap over there that's trying to hit gonna give her all of what she's missing. And the same with the dudes. The girls are gonna offer to cook 5 meals a day and drop it like it's hot and sloppy top and all that other stuff anytime he needs it because they trying to be in that position. They trying to capture something. So if we stay out the gap and we're honest about things, I think we'll be better. And I'm not waiting around for to make anything mutually exclusive. If I feel like you need to know something, I'm gonna tell you. That way you can tell me where you are with it. I at 44 I ain't playing games with people. I'm over it. Life is too short. Rest in peace, Jim. 90 and a half years is not short at all. But anyway, the last thing that I have was Philip Michael Thomas's son. I don't know what this man's name is, but he had a little video and he was talking about loyalty over love. He was saying, I'm not going to break up with you because you weren't fully healed, because no one ever taught you how to communicate, because you messed up, because we had an argument. No, I'm going to stay because I'm loyal. And when I sent this to you, as I explained before, I don't think it's loyalty over love. And I really hate the fact that he said that because I don't think that you can love somebody that enough to be loyal to them and not have the love be there. So it is a love that led to loyalty, not loyalty over love. Look, because I love you, I am now loyal to you. And because I am loyal to you, I'm not going to leave you because of this, and this. But I don't understand why you would say loyalty over love because you would not be loyal to a person like that if you did not love them. It's just a silly thing to say. And I am for loving someone and becoming loyal to them and being willing to stay through those things. But I don't want to sit up here and pretend like love ain't got nothing to do with it and loyalty comes over. That's so stupid.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's a silly, nonsensical thing to say. I guess cool alliteration. I'm sure it gathered some attention because it sounds cool to say together. I don't know. But yeah, no, loyalty is a part of love. It's part and parcel. They don't. You can't really separate the two. And not to get biblical, but like because we've worked really hard to try to separate love from all of these things, and some of this is crazy dudes. I hear dudes on the show that you're on sometimes try to make the argument about how a man could love a woman and not be loyal to her. Like he could love her, but it's in his nature to go do some bullshit. Like so, we've worked hard to try to separate the two, and fellas, we got to take ownership of that. But they don't. They belong together. They go part and parcel. The Bible lists out all of the things that love is not this and love is this and love is that. And I'm sure you'll see the qualities of loyalty listed in there. It's a part of the thing. So stop trying to break stuff out and make everything separate. If you love someone, then you're going to cherish them. You're going to be loyal to them. You're going to protect them. You're going to want to provide for them. You're going to want to do that. That it's a part of the deal. Like we can't start piecing out modules to love. And I only want the weekend boyfriend package. And that's not how it works. Like, stop. Stop.
Facts. Speak on it. Facts. I love that. I want the weekend boyfriend package is outrageous. But it's a whole lot of girls who have sold that package
I
to some dudes.
I so there is a dating app marketed toward women, specifically for women seeking men who are not seeking long-term relationships. That's where we
Are you
are right
serious?
now. I'm dead serious.
See, and this is why we get into the situations that we do. We have a whole bunch of single mothers out here with kids because they're signing up for situationships, not playing it safe, logging into apps. I'm trying to think in my life what purpose I would have for a man that wasn't going to be around long term.
No,
I want
the
to spend my life with that person. And I see, I'm not for the hopping and around. I got to get to know you now. I got to care about what you got going on. I got to meet your family. This, you doing too
oh,
much.
the app is this is for girls who just want to have fun. Like I'm just trying to have fun, and I
You know
should
how
be
much
able
fun
to
it is
have
to be in a
fun.
relationship?
I should be, so they don't want relationships. They
That's
just
what I'm
want
saying though.
fun.
It's fun to be in a relationship. Somebody needs to enlighten them. You know, the safety of being in a relationship and being with one person, you ain't got to worry about a whole bunch of things that you got to worry about when you out here sleeping around. What is so wrong with going to sleep next to and waking up next to the same person every day? Why is that not the thing that everybody is looking for? Like, AJ Johnson was recently the female from like a house party and stuff, because the other AJ Johnson is dead from Friday, but um she was talking about kind of having a polyamorous life where she can't find an American man who can give her all that she needs. So she has one dude that she kicks it with, that she travels with, her travel adventure friend. She has one dude that she prays with, and one dude that she like works out with or something like that. And one dude that she, just kicks it and has fun with. So she has different versions of what she likes to do. And she can't find a man who does them all. A man who loves to travel and is spiritual and is adventurous and is a great dancer and loves comedy. Like all those multifaceted things about her, she can't find in one dude. So she has three or four of them that fulfill a need. She does not sleep with all of them. She's trying to tell people that polyamorous lifestyle is not about sex like everybody thinks it is. Sometimes it's about finding that person that speaks to you on this plane, and this plane. Whereas you might not be able to find it. And some people don't want to settle. Like I can't imagine being very into the arts, like, arts and like poetry and music, and also into reading, and then also into salsa dancing and loving movies and all these things. And I meet a guy who's a great guy as a person. Like he has that foundation of loving family and loving children, and he treats me nice, but he hates music and he doesn't like to watch movies. Like those are such huge things to me that we can never. But I also am not the girl that's like for to split my time between multiple men either. But I can understand that some people are out there just wanting to find someone that has the key traits that they want and they need. And so they refuse to settle down until they do. But at least you know what you're looking for. To say that you're actively looking for someone just for the weekend, though, or just to have a good time for a week or two and then never talk to them again, I feel like there's a serious dysfunction there. It's frightening.
The whole thing is frightening. Is I don't know. I feel like if you have this grand idea of what you want and you don't want to settle for it, then like piecemealing it is like settling for it to a certain extent, or just I don't know, but to each his own, I guess.
Because my girl said, my heart or my spirit is monogamous. But right now, I'm not finding any American black men who can give me what I want. I do like the fact that she talking about staying black, though. I hear, you know what I'm saying. But
Normally what you're
yeah, it
supposed to
was
do is
it
if
was an
you can't
interesting
find
interview.
what you want, then you wait for what you want. Like when you start, like this is settling.
Okay, well, did you have any other words of wisdom for the people?
You know, like I think I said this very early on in this podcast, but every time you settle, every time you go for what you can get versus for what you want, you separate yourself from what you want. You put some distance between that and what you actually want when you're sitting over here wasting time and energy with things that you don't, that you're settling for. So just
And
be
something
conscious.
else you also said, I will add to it. Many, many times before on many different podcasts, you were talking about when you do things like that. when you don't settle and you just go out here and you trick, basically you sell yourself short, you get ran through. The dude who might have been interested in the version of you that knew what she wanted has watched you hop from man to man to man to man, and now he doesn't want you. You have to be very careful about how you're using yourself and allowing yourself to be used, and what you do in between the time of you finding what it is you really want. Because not every man is going to want to follow behind the whole city that you've been ran through by. Or, and this is men too. Not every woman is going to want to do who got a body count of 200 or 300. That's not appealing. So maybe you should sit down until what you want pops up. Not saying that you can't, have a friend that you go to the movies with or go out to eat with, because it's dangerous as a woman to be out here at night, for real. But that doesn't mean you need to be intimate with them, and it doesn't mean that you need to find a different dude to do each individual thing that you like to do. I don't know. I just think we're in a space now where people do. I don't care what nobody think. I don't care what nobody say. I'm a girl, yeah, and I'm gonna sleep with 500 men and what? Like I told you, people want to rebel just for the sake of rebelling,
Yeah.
and don't understand until it's too late just how problematic that is.
You know what? This just came to me. You know what it feels like to me? You seen those videos with the everybody's so creative and it's like they doing something really stupid with food, some recipe nobody would ever do. And like it feels like that's the mentality we have about like sexuality and relationships right now. It's like everybody's so creative. Let's see how I can twist, you know, how men and women interact. Like let's see what weird new aspect I can add to this thing just to be because everybody's so creative. I think I'm gonna start saying that every time I see one of these things where we've created a new kind of sexuality or something. Like everybody's so creative. Yeah, it's amazing.
I don't want to do that though, because I don't want to lie to you. I don't think that you're being creative at all. You're an imbecile. So, because you start doing that, and somebody's going to think you're really praising them for what
Nah,
they've done. And they're
nah,
going to think they
they
did a
they
good
gonna
job
know.
in something.
They gonna know this man been monotone the entire time we was speaking, and then all of a sudden everybody's so creative. Nah, if you can't figure out I'm trolling you, you got other problems.
Yeah, clearly. That is hilarious. All right, guys. Well, thank you for visiting with us this week. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. As I said last week, come find us. You can find us on YouTube, One Man, One Woman, the podcast. You can find me at Opinionated Sense on YouTube, Opinionated underscore Sense on Instagram. You can find Jared on all of his places too, and I'll let him tell you that.
Uh, Jared Flanagan, just about anywhere you can look for it, or what is TWS? That's what is TWS. Like I don't know any other way to explain to spell it.
We also have m1w.com. Leave us your comments. Come talk to us. Come ask some questions. Come let us know your thoughts on what you're hearing us talk about here. I'd love to hear from you guys. And for all of you who always send me messages on Instagram or come to the YouTube page and leave your comments, thank you so much for interacting with us. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all so much. And like I always
I don't see none
say,
of it.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm just letting them know I don't see none of it. I hear like third party stuff. So people,
Well, he could go to One Man, One Woman and see them if he wanted to, guys. It's not on me. But no, he's not in my DMs on Instagram. These are facts. But like I always say, make sure that you are good to yourself and kind to others. Holla.
holla.